The Supreme Court decision made last week has shaken people around the world to the core, with protests breaking out across the country in response to rights being taken away from women. Hi, I'm your host Bridget Shields, and let's take a look at which celebrities have spoken out. Number 10, Janelle Monae. Like most of us, Janelle Monae is fed up at the Supreme Court's decision last week to overrule Roe v. Wade, the landmark case that once promised reproductive rights under the United States Constitution. The musician brought her rage all the way with her to the BET Awards on June 26th, where she shared her thoughts on the decision. Quote, "I'd like to give a special shout out to Black women, Black queer artists, to Black non-binary artists. These artists making art on our own terms, owning our truths and expressing ourselves freely and unapologetically in a world that tries to control and police our bodies, my body and our decisions." Monae made the statements as the evening's first presenter. During her speech, she then held up a middle finger and said F you to the Supreme Court, acknowledging those who will be inevitably most impacted by the attack on reproductive rights. Quote, "I know we are celebrating us right now, as we absolutely deserve to celebrate, especially now. We must celebrate our art by protecting our rights and our truths." Number 9, Connie Brixton. The White Lotus star was incredibly passionate when addressing the crowd at the Los Angeles rally, choosing to speak up for women's reproductive rights being taken away. Her shirt said Planned Parenthood on it in white letters, and she stood behind a podium sticker that read "Bands Off Our Bodies Rally." She later took to Instagram to open up about what the moment meant to her. Quote, "For all the women who came out to the women's marches, over 300 around the country, I want to thank you for your commitment and your fight. And for those who couldn't make it out, just know that we are counting on you to stand up in this surreal and harrowing time to protect the most basic, most fundamental human right for women, to have authority and autonomy over their own bodies." Pointing out that the fight isn't just about women, but about kids, families, and everyone in general. The actress stressed that we can't stay on the sidelines amid an uncertain future. Number 8, Lorde. The New Zealand pop star gave an impassioned speech about Roe v. Wade being overturned during her Pyramid stage set at Glastonbury on June 26th. Lorde was performing as the final act before Kendrick Lamar headlines the final day of this year's festival, and decided to change the outro of her song last minute to reflect the news, which had just hit the world that weekend. She told the crowd, quote, "Welcome to sadness. The temperature is unbearable until you face it. You want to know a secret, girls? Your bodies were destined to be controlled and objectified since you were born. That horror is your birthright." She might have been improvising, but her words clearly moved the crowd. She told her fans that women possess ancient strength and wisdom that has propelled every woman who has come before them. She also concluded her amazing speech by simply stating F the Supreme Court, really taking the opportunity to use her platform to condemn the controversial US Supreme Court decision and show the world exactly what she thinks about it. Number 7, Billie Eilish. Grammy-winning musician Billie Eilish expressed frustration in people being more concerned over the defamation trial between Johnny Depp and Amber Heard than reproductive rights being taken away. According to an NME interview published on the same day as the Supreme Court decision, the artist premiered her song TV at a Manchester show earlier this month, which featured the lyrics, quote, "The internet's gone wild watching movie stars on trial while they're overturning Roe v. Wade." When asked about the meaning behind her song, she said, quote, "I was in this state of depression, losing my rights to my own body, and then I'd go on the internet and it would be people giving their take on this trial." She added that women are losing rights for their bodies, so why are we talking about celebrities' divorce trials? Insisting that we should just have let Johnny Depp and Amber Heard figure it out on their own. Billie doesn't miss a beat. She clearly wants to encourage people to direct their attention to issues that she feels carry a lot more significance, like women's rights. The musician also took the time to talk about Supreme Court's decision during her Glastonbury set. Quote, "Today is a really dark day for women in the US," adding that she's just going to say that because she can't bear to think about it any longer. Number 6, Madonna. The pop star shared on the internet just how worried she was about the landmark Supreme Court decision in a lengthy Instagram post on Sunday, alongside a series of photos of her daughters, Lorde's Leon and Mercy. Quote, "I am scared for my daughters. I'm scared for all women in America. I'm just plain scared." The icon captioned the photos saying that she was celebrating Pride Month in New York when she woke up to the terrifying news of the SCOTUS decision the very next day. She went on to say that the Supreme Court has decided that women's rights are no longer constitutional rights, which is absolutely terrifying when you think about it. She wrote that legislation has decided that we no longer have rights as women over our own bodies, and that the decision has plunged her and every other woman in the country into a deep despair. The Michigan native continued her post by encouraging women to not give up, insisting that God put this on our shoulders because he knew that we were strong enough to bear the weight. She concluded her message with a call to action, promising that we will find a way to make it federal law to protect reproductive rights. Quote, "Are you ready to fight? Gotta love Madonna for that." Number 5, Taylor Swift. Taylor has made it clear that she feels outraged and heartbroken about the news. The pop star was among the many celebrities who shared their reaction to the Supreme Court's decision to overturn Roe v. Wade after nearly 50 years. Quote, "I'm absolutely terrified that this is where we are after so many decades of people fighting for women's rights to their own bodies. The decision has stripped us of that. Let's not forget that Taylor has been tackling some pretty serious issues when it comes to writing her songs about women. She wrote All Too Well about her experience as a young woman who got into a relationship with an older Hollywood actor. Recently, her music has seen a lot of change, and within it, she's been making clear what she thinks about politics, the rampant sexism around her career, and the fallout she has faced on the pedestal of superstardom she occupied for the better part of a decade. On June 24th, shortly after the decision was announced, the singer also retweeted former First Lady Michelle Obama's statement, which she called a horrifying decision that will have devastating consequences. It's great that the pop star has recently been speaking up a lot more for what she believes in, not only in her music but on the world stage. Number 4, Phoebe Bridgers. Immediately following the news, the musician kept her statement short and to the point, describing the decision as evil. She went for a more powerful statement while on stage on Saturday. Quote, "Who wants to say F the Supreme Court on 3? After learning that there were many American concert goers in the crowd at Glastonbury Festival, she chanted with the audience and collectively raged against the decision. Bridges has been an outspoken advocate for reproductive rights for quite some time. In fact, after the draft opinion was leaked last month, she shared her own experience on Twitter, saying that she herself had undergone the procedure in October of last year while she was on tour, and that she went to Planned Parenthood where they gave her the pill. Quote, "It was easy. Everyone deserves that kind of access." Bridges added that she asked a friend who was a medical student for help when she needed to undergo the procedure, and added that the people with access will always have access, but she maintains that not everyone will be able to afford travel for the reproductive health care, and that in her case, she was extremely fortunate to be in a position where she didn't have to worry about that. Number 3, Olivia Rodrigo. While at the Glastonbury Festival, Olivia Rodrigo told the crowd, quote, "I'm devastated and terrified. So many women and so many girls are going to die because of this." The pop star was among the other celebs who performed at the Glastonbury Festival in England on Saturday, June 25th, and used the platform to really voice her opinion. She actually sang Lily Allen's F You alongside the British musician and introduced the song by saying, quote, "I'm devastated and terrified. I want to dedicate this next song to the 5 members of the Supreme Court who she said don't actually care about freedom." She added that the song goes out to the justices, Samuel Alito, Clarence Thomas, Neil Gorsuch, Amy Coney Barrett, and Brett Kavanaugh, and said, "We hate you." Many people agree that this was a really powerful statement because she names each justice individually and really called them out for their decision. She then did a surprise duet with Lily Allen, and overall it was a really stellar performance. Number 2, Lizzo. The singer is one of the only celebrities who's really putting her words into action. Lizzo announced that she and Live Nation will donate $1 million from her upcoming special tour in support of groups that provide reproductive health care. Lizzo tweeted on June 24th, quote, "I'm pledging $500,000 from my upcoming tour to Planned Parenthood," and added that Live Nation agreed to match it to make $1 million in total. The hitmaker also responded to a comment by confirming that she'd be sending donating money to certain reproductive rights funds as well, which describes itself as a network of grassroots organizations working to remove financial, logistical, cultural, and political barriers in the way of access to reproductive healthcare. She went on to say that the most important thing is action and loud voices, and that we will need funding to continue offering services to people who are most harmed by this ban. She then directed fans to her Lizzo Loves You website, which she launched to help Black organizations. The special tour begins on September 23rd in Florida and will conclude in November in Los Angeles. The singer has used her platform in the past to be outspoken about transgender rights. Even though she's originally from Houston, Texas, she has claimed she wasn't proud to rep her state's policies. Number 1. Michelle Obama. Michelle Obama wrote a statement last Friday saying that she's heartbroken that the US is returning to the painful lessons of a time before Roe v. Wade was made law of the land. Quote, "So yes, I am heartbroken for the teenage girl, full of zest and promise, who won't be able to finish school or live the life she wants because her state controls her reproductive decisions." She went on to express empathy for the mother of the non-viable pregnancy who is now forced to bring that pregnancy to term, for the parents watching their child's future evaporate before their very eyes, and for the healthcare workers who can no longer help them without risking jail time. The former First Lady wrote on social media and called on others to, quote, "channel your frustration and anger into action by getting involved," sharing resources for Planned Parenthood and the United States of Women's Reproductive Justice Hub. She concluded her message saying that while our hearts may be broken today, tomorrow we've got to get up and find the courage to keep working towards creating a more just America that we all deserve. What do you think about the celebrities speaking up in the aftermath of Roe v. Wade? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below, and thanks for watching.